really good. There's some heavier moments in it, but it's just it's just like one of those like sort of truth is stranger than fiction kind of stories. Like he lived a crazy life. He was a maniac in a good way
and bad ways.
Yeah. And but good and bad. So what do you got, Keith? Your turn.
Still made some kick-ass music though. What am I going to do now? I'm going to say that I'm not a huge fan of this band, but this guy nailed this stuff. Val Kilmer as Jim Morrison in The Doors is pretty kick-ass. It made me actually want to watch the movie. Oliver Stone directed it, who that's no slouch himself. But not only was Val Kilmer turned himself into Jim Morrison with all of, like, I'm pretty sure he sang some of the parts. Even Ray Manzarek was quoted saying that he couldn't tell the difference between the two voices when they were doing the movie, where they would do some of the Jim stuff and then Val would do his own vocals, and he said it was pretty damn close. But I think that not only did Val Kilmer do a great job in that movie, I also think that the supporting cast, the rest of the Doors, the Kevin Dillons, Kyle MacLachlan's, they did a really good job. There's some funny shit. There's some funny dialogue between the band members that was pretty memorable. Some parts, that were, if you watch the whole movie, were pretty good. But yeah, he nailed that. I mean, if you're gonna do a study in, a legendary musician like that or singer, we'll give him the 2 thumbs up in my camp here. So very good job.
That one's on my list as well. I also read, though, that the bandmates and friends and family did not like that movie because of how poorly Jim Morrison was portrayed. But, I mean, isn't it all true? So, it came out in 1991, made $34 million on a $38 million budget, so it lost money.
Lost money. Still a classic.
Still a great movie.
And I'm sure that whatever it lost, it made up in home video and licensing to places like Netflix.
Everybody
and
in music
Amazon.
watches it.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, it's just like, I own it.
I have it.
Yeah, it's it's a good movie to get stoned to and watch and kind of like, imagine you're back in the 60s, tripping hard. It's a good time. It's a really good time. What do you got, Lil?
I'm going to talk about the movie The Runaways and Dakota Fanning as Sherry Curie. I think she did a great job in the movie portraying Sherry. She did, like, the whole dancing, the dressing. She, like, even Sherry herself loved Dakota Fanning. Kristen Stewart, on the other hand, I don't think did a great job as Joan Jett because, I'm sorry, that girl acts the same way in every movie. She bores me to death. But they came out in 2010. And it sort of was based on Cherie's book, so it was kind of biased. The book was Neon Angel. The
Was that
formation of the
Michael
band,
Shannon played?
I don't know who plays him.
Yeah.
Is that Michael Shannon? He's
He's a
great.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys who's like not a
he's a killer.
super big Hollywood star, but everything he's like, even if the movie isn't very good, like he was in Bug, and that's a kind of movie, but he's like really good in it. Like he's like Lance Henriksen, who could be he's good even the movie sucks. Like he's good. Like he like puts his balls into it.
His balls.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't
That's
interrupt
okay. It talks about the band from 1975 until Cherie finally left the band. It only made $4.7 million on a $10 million budget. Got mostly favorable reviews though, and Curie herself didn't really like it because she said a lot of her book was left out.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna take your book,
Right.
That's and make it like a 7-hour movie.
Right.
No.
But overall, I did like it, other than Kristen Stewart being Joan Jett, and I really, really thought it was going to be great with her as Joan Jett, but I just wasn't my favorite. However, Cherie did a great job.
Yeah, she gets a lot of. Kristen Stewart is not considered like by a lot of people. She gets a lot of shit about her acting.
She's super boring.
And quite frankly, I haven't seen her. That may be the only movie I've ever seen her in.
Really?
So to me, it was okay. Like I didn't think one way or another about it because I don't know. She's in that Twilight stuff.
I don't watch that, but watch Adventureland about Kennywood.
Okay.
It's the same acting.
Is it? I
Exactly
never
the
saw that either.
She's definitely in that.
Okay. Well, I'm not here to defend or
Right,
criticize.
right.
I don't know anything. Like I said, I'm not a Kristen
I actually
Stewart.
did a good job in that movie, and I think that she became like she did a lot of the Joan Jett, like that bending over, playing the guitar kind of thing, where she like almost plays the guitar friggin' hunchbacked at some points. I mean, whenever you watch Joan Jett play guitar, she has that like hunched over kind of like posture when she does that.
Yeah.
I mean, Marie Carey can do what she wants, but Joan Jett went on to have a friggin' way better career
Oh,
than
yeah.
any of those girls. And I think Kristen Stewart kind of, I'm not saying she's a great actress, but in that movie, I think that was her best portrayal of, a character, because anything else she does is pretty much flatline. She just does the same thing over and over again. But
I mean, that worked in her favor because of her acting, but it's just that's exactly what
Oh,
I
yeah.
see in every movie.
she's not a good actress at all, and that's way overhyped. I think in that movie she actually did pull off a Joan Jett vibe, and Dakota Fanning was good, but I think Kristen Stewart actually stole that movie, in my opinion. But I mean, and I don't even know the girl that played Lita Ford and the drummer. I couldn't.
Nobody
even
does, and guess what? Lita Ford and the other girl is mad.
Sure. I couldn't even name the drummer in that band, which I'm pretty good with that trivia shit. I couldn't tell you who the drummer in Runaways was.
I'm gonna pick one. I'm looking at this Discover Music, youdiscovermusic.com, and this one I do not believe is on the list. What I can't believe, but it's Cadillac. Not Cadillac. Cadillac Records.
Oh,
yeah,
I
the
did
whole
not
cast.
see that, but I have it.
That is a. I like that movie. I love Mos Def's portrayal of Chuck Berry. I think it's brilliant. I think he's got that whole. He's got the he. In my opinion, he is Chuck Berry. In that, everybody I think in that movie did a great job, and I felt it really kind of puts you in the space of that Chess Records formation and those artists and what they went through. It is not the most edgy of all the movies. I mean, like you look at a movie like Bird, which is but that's a Clint Eastwood movie, so that's going to be like a way deeper kind of film. This is, so a lot of people kind of maybe thought this was kind of superficial or whatever, but I thought it was a kind of like fitting tribute to what happened to, those artists and how they kind of like got their sort of like break with Chess Records. I don't know if anybody here wants to comment on that or not.
I didn't get to see it yet.
I actually have Cadillac Records on my list, and instead of having like a specific actor or actress on that, I put the entire cast was brilliant because they were all great in that movie.
Got to give Beyonce, man. You got to give that bitch her due on
that. She was Etta.
Yep.
Most stuff was amazing in that movie. Jeffrey Wright as Muddy Waters was awesome. I can't remember the cat that played Howling Wolf, but he was great. He had that deep voice and just Little Walter's character. I don't know that cat.
Who played Willie Dixon? He's a really famous dude.
That was Cedric the Entertainer.
Yeah. Cedric the Entertainer. Yeah.
He's a good actor.
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
Cracks me up.
And I don't think anybody really. I mean, they all stand out. You can't really point a finger and say, "Well, that dude or girl kicks ass." Or it's just, they all killed that movie, and it's a great flick. I mean, I've watched that movie umpteen times, and I think that I could watch it probably again and again and again because it just shows that early period of rock and roll that just.
By the way, you have a really good topic, I think, for a future podcast. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We need to take a break and play a band. This is Lady Beast, Vicious Breed on the Ludini Rock and Roll Circuit.
We'll burn in hell.
Beasta. Vicious Breed. Yes. Not to be confused with Nightbreed. Vicious Breed. Lady Beast. And let's give you a little bit of Lady Beast. You can go to ladybeast.bandcamp.com and you can get all your Lady Beast needs met right there. ladybeast.bandcamp.com. If you have not hit the share button already, shame on you. Hit the share button. Hit that share button, okay? Not share, C-H-E-R. Share, S-H-A-R-E, okay? Let's get that correct. There is no. That'd be great. That'd be hilarious, though, if one day Facebook, just as like an April Fool's joke, had a share button, like had like Cher's face, you know? It'd just be funny. I don't know. I like goofy shit like that. Hey, want to support what we're doing? You could go to Patreon, patreon.com/Lou Lombardi. Throw us $1, $5, whatever. If you join at the $15 level, we'll give you your own spot on this show, so it might be something you might want to try. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so we are talking about biopics, and we've hit some good ones so far. I mean, do you guys know of any that are like really terrible? Before we move on,
Yeah.
I mean, almost all the ones I've seen have been like at least pretty good.
The bird you were talking about
Yeah.
Charlie Parker.
Yeah,
That was awful, man.
really?
I didn't like it at all.
I liked it.
Another one I didn't like was the one that I would put. He's a great actor, but Don Cheadle and Miles Away, the one with Miles Davis.
I did not see that. I did not see that.
Well, it's just I don't know, man. I mean, he does a great job. He's just a good actor. He can't polish a third, man. I don't know. As one.
Yeah.
Maybe if I watch it again, it just seems. And I know a lot of people bitched it wasn't factually correct a lot of times. So, I don't know. I don't know, Miles.
There's one that I saw was pretty weak too, about Jimi Hendrix. It was a Netflix original, and what's his name?
That's the one with Andre Benjamin in it.
Yeah, and that was a little like, here's how cheap it was. Everybody knows Jimi Hendrix played a Fender Stratocaster. They had him walking around with some like Samick. Or like some like off-brand guitar.
Completely wrong.
It wasn't
guitar.
even made at that time.
Well, that sucks. I did want to see that. Now,
yeah, it's like.
I mean, I'll still watch it.
It's just it bothered me. Like it was just like, really,
Well,
you couldn't get Fender to like. It made me think that like the movie, there was so little faith placed in the movie that even Fender guitars wasn't willing to like have their name attached to it.
They're like, nah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I did want to see that one though.
Yeah, I've seen that one once, and I don't even think I made it through the whole thing. Another one that you two will probably disagree with. The Dirt was just shit.
I love The Dirt.
I love The Dirt.
I
too.
love it too.
Actually, that's next on my list.
I think I've seen it 3 times. Yeah.
Fuck, I mean, seriously, the friggin' acting in that is just. I've seen better acting in porn, man.
I don't know. It didn't bother me. I thought it was such a fun story, and I really believed those guys were Motley Crue because I would imagine Motley Crue being just like that.
There's 2 actors in it that did very well, I think.
So why don't you go ahead, Lily? You are the Dirt Queen. So why don't you talk about The Dirt?
So
we know what Keith thinks.
As much as I didn't like, I really wanted to hate The Dirt. I actually really did because I thought they were going to botch it to death. But Machine Gun Kelly as Tommy Lee did a fantastic job, and Tony Cavallero as Ozzy Osbourne did a fantastic job. And that's the reason I like the movie. I know Tony was only in it for a little bit, but he did Ozzy good, I think. Obviously, it's the 2019 biodrama film about the glam metal band Motley Crue. Went straight to Netflix. It actually was to be like they talked about making this film back in 2006, and Paramount bought the rights, and MTV Films bought the rights, and they finally dropped it for Netflix to purchase the rights in 2017. And I don't know, it doesn't completely cover everything about the book, but what it does cover, they did it correctly. So, and the two actors I mentioned, Machine Gun Kelly and Cavallero, I just think they did a great job. As far as the other guys, those are their Netflix pool of actors. They're in a lot of Netflix movies.
Yeah.
So that's why they didn't do such great jobs, I don't think. But got 2 out of 5 stars, of course. And Rolling Stone said,
Oh, I'm not alone then. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Rolling Stone's the one that gave him 2 out of 5.
Well, it's half.
Right.
That's a C.
But Newsday said a funny foul-mouthed whirlwind ride through one of the last great eras in rock history. when wretched excess was part of the job description and bad behavior was a badge of honor. So,
I think I just personally just want to throw my 2 cents in. I think, right, Keith, the acting was like, it wasn't, wasn't.
Yeah, the story itself is fun.
But I think a lot of I think a lot of the hate for that movie comes from the fact of the world we live in today, with everybody's ass is so fucking tight, and so everybody is offended at the drop of a fucking hat. And if you think that these rock stars, these guys you like, these, politically correct, alternative artists aren't banging tons of chicks and doing tons of fucking drugs, you are fucking looted, okay? All right? Just because they're not wearing leather pants and have big hair doesn't mean that they aren't partying their asses off and having a good time, okay? So just chill on that. So I have one I would like to throw out at you guys, and I don't know if it's probably on anybody's list. This was not a really big popular movie. I think it was a TV movie. But it was a movie about the Beach Boys. I believe it was called Love and Mercy. And
2 actors you'll throw out.
So or was it Summer Dreams?
No, it's Love and Mercy.
no, it wasn't
Love and
Summer
Mercy.
Dreams.
Okay. And I'm a huge Beach Boys fan. That was my introduction to rock music. Was my mother had the Beach Boys greatest hits. And it was something about, it wasn't Endless Summer, but it was something, everything that they did, it's about summer in it. And I played that record over and over. My favorite Beach Boys song was Little Honda. And I thought it was really kind of showcased their, especially Brian Wilson's artistry. And, they had the tragedy and had all the ups and downs with, everything that everybody went through. So anyways, I'm just putting that out there. That's on my list. Who's next? Keith, you next?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would follow up on that by saying that I think not only 1, but 2 actors in that, because you have the young Brian Wilson played by Paul Dano, I think it is, who's a great actor. And John Cusack plays I'm going to go crazy Brian Wilson, and, but in the latter year. But those 2 deserve a lot of credit. And I think that obviously it focuses on the band, but it should focus more on Brian Wilson, because Brian Wilson is the Beach Boys. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
They were the live band. They were the kind of like good-looking surfer guys. Their face was on the thing, but they did sing. But the band was, what do they call it? The Wrecking Crew? That was really the band.
I mean, Dennis Wilson was the drummer for the Beach Boys for a reason. Not only was our brother, but he was better looking than everybody in the band, so they put him back behind the drums and said, "Here, just like get chicks." And friggin' wasn't a good drummer, so I mean, he didn't. I don't even think he played on any studio stuff. Most of it, if not all of it, is Hal Blaine.
Yeah, it's Hal Blaine. Mm-hmm.
And Dennis was just there to drag in the girls, and that's whatever works for you, Dennis. But don't work for me. But anyway,
before we go too much farther, what's the audience saying tonight, Lil? Who's listening? Let's give our shout outs to the good folks at home.
We got Chris Thunderwolf watching,
Woo,
Henry Kelsey, Snowdeheim Skirk, Justin Bishop, he also calls it Star Lake, Diana Swens, Earl the Pearl's watching, and he was at the GNR show on Saturday, was killer. Mark Bradley Davis, Tim Doverspike, Lance Campbell's watching. Henry Kelsey said George Strait and Pure Country.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Pure Country. Pure.
Earl the Pearl, Joaquin Phoenix, Johnny Cash, Walk the Line, which is definitely on my list. Tuck Shepard's watching. Tracy Sampson is watching. Redson Webster's watching. Sean Marks is watching. Henry Kelsey disagrees with MGK being a good Tommy. I think you just don't like Machine Gun Kelly, because what I'm reading here, I'm not going to read the whole thing. You just hate Machine Gun Kelly, and I get it. I hate him too, but I think he was a great Tommy. Jamie Foxx, Ray Charles, and Ray by Diana Swens. She thinks that's a good movie, which I have not seen, so I could not put it on my list.
Okay, so what do we want to talk about next? Keith was up next. What do you got, Keith?
I'm going to go, speaking of George Strait and a little bit of country, I'm going to go a little bit country too, if you don't mind. I'm going to go a little bit, but just a well-done movie. Sissy Spacek and Cole's daughter is a fucking nailed 10 out of 10. Even Loretta Lynn handpicked her for that freaking role.
That was a great movie.
Too. And Loretta Lynn is a country music legend. Sissy Spacek is a freaking Oscar award-winning and killer actress. So that's a win-win for everybody. She had that shit so down that I think that, I mean, the Jamie Foxx's Ray, I'm going to bring that up too. Probably one of the better ones I've ever seen, where they actually become that person. It's just Jamie Foxx was that good. Sissy Spacek as Loretta Lynn was that good as, you know, in that role. It's amazing. She had all that, like, unfortunately, if I offend anyone out there, that kind of redneck stupidity that she had. She had that
innocence,
that
the naivete, the like country girl naivete.
I like to call it redneck stupidity, but anyway,
it's the same thing.
Trying to be a little nicer about it.
But yeah, I mean, she had that shit is nailed, man. I mean, wow, that's a great flick. I mean, obviously it's from a little bit back in the day at this point, but still stands up.
I watched it recently, dude. It's awesome. It's a great movie.
Tommy Lee Jones is great in it. He's great and everything. But, I mean, there's just some really good just moments in that movie where she's having, like, some serious issues. Beverly D'Angelo as Patsy Cline, as, you know, then meets another tragic end. She's really good in that movie. I mean, sometimes, you know, I mean, the supporting cast a lot is lost due to the fact that the movie is about Loretta Lynn, but there's some really good portrayals in that movie other than Sissy Spacek. But she was Loretta Lynn in that movie. Like I said, I read that Loretta Lynn handpicked her for that role when they were doing the biopic about her. So what does that tell you?
Okay, all right. So Lily, what do you got, girl?
I'm gonna go newer since we're running out of time here. I'm gonna go with Bohemian Rhapsody. Rami Malek playing Freddie Mercury. Came out in 2018, as everyone knows. It's super new. About the lead singer of Queen. I think Rami was wonderful. I think he emulated him super well. They did great makeup on him to make him look like him. He just, I mean, it was very convincing. Follows the life from the band up to from the beginning of the band to the 1985 Live Aid performance, which, of course, that made me tear up a little bit, as some music movies do. Brian May and Roger Taylor served as consultants to the film, so they were totally okay with it. However, I did read that Sacha Baron Cohen was supposed to be.
He's been trying to get a movie about Freddie Mercury made for like 10 years.
I would have hated it. I cannot stand him. I think it would have been
by the
awful.
time it started to formulate, he was really he'd gotten a little older and his looks and stuff weren't going to quite work.
Well, yeah, it was announced originally in 2010. So
yeah.
I just think Malek's performance and the music sequences received high praise. It did receive criticism for the inaccuracies, but you know what? They were just trying to fit some shit in the movie. Calm down. But it did gross over $903 million worldwide on a $50 million budget, and is the sixth highest grossing film of 2018.
It's a fantastic movie. And just for the Live Aid thing alone,
that whole sequence.
Go to the movie theater
where
they have the extra big screen, sit close, and you feel like you are at Live Aid. And you'll get goosebumps. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I had tears in my eyes. I had goosebumps. I was like, this is unreal.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I loved every second of that movie.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to add anything to that, Keith?
Yeah, it's a brilliant fucking movie.
Okay.
He was brilliant in that.
I mean,
that's really all you got to say about it.
It's definitely one of my top 5 favorite rock bands of all time. Freddie Mercury's my favorite male vocalist of all time. I mean, as a rock vocalist go, he is the epitome of what a rock singer should be.
Best
Rami Malek is amazing in that role. I don't know what else there is to say, man, other than, you know,
he's a Raining Man.
It's a great flick, and it's just, like I said, there might be some inaccuracies in the movie, but who gives a shit?
I agree. I'm going to throw one out, and I know it's going to be controversial because we have nobody, I'm looking at our list here, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think we've talked about a fictional characters, movies yet. And I know you want to talk about the Blues Brothers, but I'm going to throw one out because this movie came out and I missed it. I never saw it until about a week ago.
If you say something like that you should have seen already, I'm gonna smash
And I was wildly entertained by this. I think it's a super fun, and it's a kind of tongue-in-cheek look at biopics, and it only has it's a certain kind of humor that not everybody's going to
you.
appreciate.
Seriously, is
But
this what I think it is?
I'm going to put Walk Hard
Oh.
on my list.
Get out of here with that shit. Yeah, that's funny, though. That is a funny movie.
I did not like it.
I mean, it's way over the top, kind of the comedy. I mean, you just...
I understand why you wouldn't like it. I think a lot of women wouldn't get it.
I mean, I like John C. Reilly. I love him. I hated that movie.
Yeah.
I was hoping to love it.
I mean, that movie just tries to be like... I mean, in the serious world, I mean, one person online mentioned it. We didn't mention Joaquin Phoenix's Johnny Cash. That's a brilliant portrayal.
And we didn't mention Ray yet either, so, you know.
Another one. I mean, we're not going to have time to do them all. That's, I mean, these lists are just, they could go on forever. Gary Oldman is Sid Vicious, you know, and Sid and Nancy.
Oh, amazing, yeah.
You could go on and on and on. People were talking before about doing the ones that are like the Almost Famous or Russell Hammond and all those guys.
I think I would be on, in terms of fictional ones, that would be on my list, yeah.
Yeah, there's some great shit that was, you know, you want to go as far as saying Danny Bonaducci, that's up to you. But, I mean...
The Partridge Family. Yeah,
there's really good ones that are we just don't have time to do them all. But, I mean, the great ones are, you know, the ones we've named. I mean, and we didn't... another one is Lou Diamond Phillips'
Richie.
Fallon.
Yeah, he's on my list.
La Bamba.
My list was rather lengthy this week.
Yeah, I had like about 15 that were just... And I knew we're not going to be able to do them all. It's just one of those things where there's so many great movies made. There's a few that I would like to see. I didn't see the Rocket Man movie. I don't know I don't know the cat's name. It does.
Taron Egerton.
Yeah.
That's my number one favorite.
He was in Kingsman. And this, I want to tell you guys something kind of funny. And did you see Kingsman?
No.
Did you see Kingsman?
I did not.
Kingsman is a sort of like a more lighthearted James Bond kind of movie, all right? And they did a sequel called Golden Circle, which is a total piece of shit. However, this is really weird. In Golden Circle, one of the plot points is this evil Golden Circle has kidnapped Elton John.
What?
And Taron
Egerton
is the star of the... And he has to rescue Elton John. So, and there, when I first started watching the movie, they show the character's office, and there's this like National Enquirer thing hanging up said Elton missing, and I thought, oh, that's weird. And Elton John is actually in the freaking movie.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, and I mean that's the only thing that's kind of interest in the film. It's a totally dumb. It does. I mean, it got bad reviews. It's a total piece of shit, but. I just thought that was like, okay, maybe that's where they came up with the idea that Taron would play Elton. And I don't know. It's just kind of a strange...
I think Elton John has a pretty good sense of humor, because you ever seen the movie Bruno at the ending credits? He actually starts singing about anal bleaching at the end.
That is the reason I hate Sacha Baron Cohen. That is the reason, right there.
I heard that Sacha Baron Cohen was going to do the Freddie Mercury. He wasn't going to do Bohemian Rhapsody. He's just hard to work with, and B, I think Freddie Mercury might have been 5'10", maybe. Sacha Baron Cohen's fucking 6'4".
I know.
What that's going to look like. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I just think things I've read and heard, he's just hard to deal with, and they just kind of lucked out. I mean, I don't know any other thing other than what is it, Mr. Robot that Mr. Malik was in, but you know.
Well,
he was in Night at the Museum too.
The
original.
Bruno. What was the movie before Bruno? Where Kazakhstan and all.
Dumb. That's what it is. It's just called Dumb.
I'm sorry to say.
Borat.
It's just one of my favorite. That movie is fall down, piss your friggin' pants funny.
I laughed my ass off, but I felt a little bit bad when I found out that he really punked all those people. And then he had to go back and get their permission to use it in a film. But what you're seeing on the screen is their real reactions. They don't know that this guy's making a crazy movie. And then I felt afterwards I kind of felt a little weird, like that was a little questionable. But I laughed my ass off, and I thought Bruno was one of those movies you either laugh or you go this is fucking disgusting, and I'm not watching it.
After the penis spoke, I was done.
I know. It's it's just like
I wanted to leave.
you just gotta like, can you take it or can't you?
I'm like, no.
After he's wrestling Azamat on the bed and buck naked in the like 20 pounds, I mean, that shit is just, either you're going to laugh. I mean, I seen that in the theater. I almost fell out of my seat, man.
Oh, God. Okay. We could talk about this shit all day. We need to kind of start reining stuff in here. I need to do one thing. I never got to share it, so it's good. So let's go. I need to go to, here we go. Okay, we got a bunch of folks that chimed in this week, and I just want to give shout outs. Guys, I can't mention all your movies, okay? Dave Holiday, thank you. He talked about Richie Here's the New York Dolls, something about the New York Dolls. Is there a movie about that? Tom.
Hey, Benny, there was a little series on HBO called Vinyl, which was awesome.
Tom Feely talked about the Ruddles, which is, we're not talking about mockumentaries here like Spinal Tap and the Ruddles, but thank you for chiming in. Scott Harding, Dan O, and I believe you guys got in on this. He talked about the Gary Busey story. The Buddy Holly story with Gary Busey. John Fox talks about Tom Hulse's portrayal of Mozart and Gary Oldman's portrayal of Beethoven, which aren't really rock, but I think those were cool movies.
I liked Amadeus. I didn't see the other one.
So just a shout out to some of those folks. Some other people chimed in too, real quick. I believe Cody Gray, Ron Poole, Tim Johnson. Oh, we did not mention, and because we threw out a few fictional people there, we should throw out Michael Pear as from Eddie and the Cruisers. Eddie Wilson as Eddie and the Cruisers. You didn't like Eddie and the Cruisers?
No, I love that movie.
Yeah, okay.
I have the soundtrack too.
I have both 1 and 2 on Blu-ray. Fun movies. If you're a rock fan, it's kind of a cool kind of thing. Any parting shots, closing comments before we wrap up today's show? Keith Hawkins.
Oh, shit, I forgot one. It was really good. Angela Bassett as Tina Turner in What's Love Got.
I know. I had that on my list too. I love that movie.
Lawrence Fishburne
As Ike.
great. As Ike.
I don't care. I want my name. I just want my name.
They both hated that movie.
Yeah, well, are you serious? That's crazy, because that movie I thought was well done.
I mean, Ike and Tina both hated that movie.
Oh, really? All right, yeah, well.
Yeah.
Ike hates everything.
Well, he hates his whole life. So.
But is that the only thing you want to say? Anything else, Keith, before we wrap up?
No, I just want to give a shout out to anybody that likes to hear me talk.
Well, you got 2 of us here, so we like to hear you talk.
That's all I need. That gives me reason to live and keep going on.
And Lily V6. Go ahead. All right, brother. Lily V6, what do you got before we roll out of here?
Just listening to my show, Hot Licks with Lily 6, Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, rockrageradio.com, or download the free app, Rock Rage Radio. And I will be at the Goo Goo Dolls on Friday in New York. So I'll be going live for that.
Wow. It's like the New York Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh, wait, and I'll be at Bang Tango and Faster Pussycat on Thursday. Here.
Pussy Faster Cat. Wow.
Specifically for Ace Von Johnson. Let's be real.
Are you done with
That's
your
all.
little sexual fantasies?
Yes.
Well, we're talking about Lily's sexual fantasies in a minute. Go to LouLombardiRocks.com and get in on the after party. Make sure you bring your own booze. We do not supply alcohol. That would be illegal. LoudiniRockAndRollCircus.com is our website. Tons of great content there, guys. You definitely, if you're a fan of great guitar-driven rock, you want to check it out. Special shout-out to our affiliates, Rock Rage Radio and Classic 92.3. You guys are the greatest. Thank you so much for being excited about great guitar-driven rock and about the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Like what you heard tonight. You enjoy what we're doing. You believe in the music that we're playing here. You love bands like Lady Beast.